Welcome home to Homespun, a weekly internet gathering of family, friends, and businesses from Platte County. Our purpose is to connect our community and showcase the colorful threads that run through our tapestry. Grab a warm cup of hometown goodness, sit back, put your feet up, and visit with us a while. I'm your host, Mark DeLap, and I bring to you portions of interviews from some of our own. Welcome home, Platte County, to Homespun. Okay, we are here at Westgem Jewelers in Dwyer, Wyoming, a quaint little shop in the middle of nowhere. If you have a GPS, you probably won't be able to find this place. No, you really will. But we're here with the owners of Westgem Jewelers and the brain thrust behind this whole venture here. And so I would like to have you guys introduce yourself to our viewers. We'll start with you, Elyse.
I'm Elyse Rutherford, and I was born in Wheatland, Wyoming.
Okay. And so you're Wyoming born and bred?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever traveled outside of the state?
Oh, yes. I've been to lots of states. I've been to Germany, France.
And an international traveler that came home to Wheatland. And Silvia?
Yes, I'm Silvia Rutherford, and I'm the proprietor, the owner of this jewelry store, Westgem Gallery, and I came from Long Island, New York, and studied geology at the University of Wyoming.
Is that what brought you out here, Silvia,
Yes.
was the University of Wyoming?
Yes.
To study geology?
Yes.
Have you heard about the archaeological dig that's going on up in Guernsey Sunrise right now?
Yes, I have.
I heard that's quite a big thing in this town. We're going to save that for a different day. So we're going to concentrate on your background a little bit and just kind of find out who you are and what makes you guys tick and why a jewelry store in the middle of nowhere. And I might add that you're one of the only jewelry stores in the area. You have to go to Casper or to Cheyenne to find another jewelry store.
Well, yes, I had this crazy idea to open this store up out on the prairie here along the Oregon Trail. I married a cowboy that I met at the University of Wyoming, and we were both studying geology, and so we met in a lab class there, and then we got married after we dated for a little while. And so then we came back to the family ranch, and since ranching was his thing, I decided I needed to do my own thing. And so I took my courses from the Gemological Institute of America and got my graduate or my gemologist degree, and I just decided to open this place up.
So you actually wanted to be a geologist, and so everything you dug, you decided to turn into jewelry.
Yes, I'm quite the rock hound.
Okay.
I'm always looking at the ground, which is a good thing in case I come upon a snake or something, you know.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. If you see if I'm in a hallway and there's a snake on one end of the hallway and a grizzly bear on the other, I'll go through the bear.
There you go.
pretty much. So when you grew up, Sylvia, you grew up in Long Island. You have no residual accent, and I know a lot of people from Long Island that have the Long Island accent.
Right.
So you must have effectively dropped that, or you've been here a long time.
I have been here a very long time. I came out to Wyoming when I was 17. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when you were growing up, tell me a little bit about Sylvia growing up.
I used to go beach combing. We lived near the shore, and we went boating, and flying, and I don't have my license, but so let's see. I was a bookworm, a nerd. I had other bookworm friends, and I guess I was pretty shy. I was very, very shy, and so I had to get out of my shell a bit, and so I came out to Wyoming, and my high school guidance counselor said, if you want to study geology, go out west. So either Colorado or Wyoming, and Wyoming won.
And when before you came out here, your parents had you involved in obviously multiple things in New York,
Yeah.
and they had you into the Barbizon modeling school. You were actually a model out in New York.
Well, I went to that school because it was nearby, and I was so shy that they thought it would be good for me to help me come out of my shell, and just kind of, I was so shy I couldn't even look at anybody in the eyes. I just was pretty introverted.
And what
So-
what did you gain from that experience?
I gained confidence. I could always use more of that. It helped me accomplish something that was my first, would you say, degree, so to speak, or first certificate.
Sure.
Anyway. It helped me to meet people and carry on conversations. And
Right. It was not just a modeling agency, but
No.
Barbizon was pretty big in the fact that they were not only training their models, but they were also raising them up as far as their culture and their characteristics and their confidence levels. And it was actually a finishing school pretty much, wasn't it?
That's exactly what I went there for.
Okay.
So and then I land out on the prairie here, and so maybe I don't fit in 100% with. I tried though. I've roped calves and or wrestled them. I guess not really roped them. I've wrestled them, and I windrowed some hay, and I have been out there some, not as much as maybe you would think, but I have been out there.
Sure, sure.
Helping to run the ranch.
Well, that's pretty admirable, especially somebody coming from New York to come out to a ranch situation. It's not as much of a stretch for me since I grew up in Wisconsin, and so around the cows and the small town and things like that. And then I went off to work in some of the bigger markets in Chicago and Los Angeles and Minneapolis. But there's something about a small town. You came from Long Island, which was a very populated area, to the University of Wyoming. And where did you live when you first got out here? Did you live right on campus?
I did the first couple of years, and then after we got married, then we had a little apartment. I think it was 508 Sheridan, if I remember right.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so then you moved back here to the ranch.
We did. We moved back here. We didn't get jobs in our field in the oil business. The oil business was going downhill right then. There were geologists with masters and PhDs that said, if you hear of any extra jobs, let us know, because they were about to get laid off, unfortunately.
Sure.
So,
And when you came out here and you came to the ranch, and your husband was a rancher, correct?
well, he wanted to be a geologist, but he grew up on the ranch, on this ranch here.
So he was able to fall back on something he knew then.
Yes, and his parents were getting older, so they needed some help too. So we were married for almost 32 years and purchased the place parcel by parcel, homestead by homestead.
Right, and his name was Gale?
Gale, sometimes went by Galen, Gale Rutherford.
Right, and from what I've heard, he passed away quite quickly.
He did. It was just over a weekend. We didn't know he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So we found out on a Friday, and then he was gone on a Monday. And the sun passed.
Take me through that period of your life. What was that like?
That was the roughest time I think we've ever had.
It's been almost 6 years.
6 years. Go ahead.
So yeah, we had found out that he had type 2 diabetes, and he was taking care of that. And we were just getting done with, I was getting done with 7th grade. I was getting ready to go on a National History Day trip, and right before that, we ended up going to the hospital, and then we went to the Cheyenne Hospital, and yeah, that weekend definitely left a mark on my life, for sure.
Seventh grade, that's got to be rough. As far as the idea that your dad was, you were an only child, so you were most likely his princess and his little girl. So from the point you found out, Elyse, until the point where he passed, what was that? What were you going through at that point?
I really remember a lot of numbness because I was just so in disbelief. He was like, I was such a daddy's girl, so it certainly didn't feel real.
How long did it take you to get over that, if ever?
Well, since I went on that History Day trip, within a week of it happening, in order to have fun on that trip, I had to really compartmentalize. But it definitely was rough. When teachers would find out at school, of course they would treat me with concern, of course, but
right.
It might have helped me think about the importance of cherishing people I know. For sure.
So not taking for granted the time that you have, things like that.
That's right.
That's a good lesson for, I think, all of us to learn. But it's like the Bible says too. That life is but a vapor, and we have no promise for tomorrow. And people come and go so quickly. And were you there at his passing, Elyse?
I wasn't in the room.
Okay. But you were there with him?
I was outside the room, and I was summoned into his room. I just knew I had to go in there.
Yeah.
And I held his hand, and he took his last 2 or 3 breaths while I held his hand.
Yeah. Sometimes we go through this, and I don't know, somebody might be watching this that's going through this with somebody that they really care about. And the idea of, the premise that you were the one chosen to walk him right to the door.
Right.
To hug him and kiss him goodbye and tell him you'll see him on that other side. That's kind of an honor.
It is.
To know that you're gonna lead him right to that last door.
Yes.
And that's got to be a rough period. Now, after this happened, Silvia, your whole world must have been turned upside down. I mean, you don't plan for this, especially on something like this.
Oh, no.
When things happen so suddenly like that, and some people say, I would rather have it happen suddenly. I'd rather have it happen over a period of years. I don't think it's easy either way you take it. But what was your mindset going forth, especially with the ranch and with the shop, and you had the shop at that point, correct?
Yes, I did. The ranch was a bit more pressing, and then I also helped my mother-in-law a bit too, as well. And so everything happened all at one time, and I had to cowgirl up. I had to just do it. And I had my little one, and she helped me through it. Absolutely, because I knew that she was counting on me. I was the only one that could do what needed to be done, so I had to do it.
Right. Leaning on those that are left behind.
Right.
I think that's a good lesson.
Yes, I had help. I definitely had a lot of help. I had friends who were so supportive, and everyone was wonderful, yes.
So how did you handle the business, the day-to-day business after that?
Well, I had a good friend that stepped in to my husband's shoes just with the cattle and everything, took care of that, and then I leased the grass to him after that, and I did what I could on my end and still kept my little store running here. And of course, and Elyse, she's been able to keep her grades up and throughout it all.
Sure.
So, and we still miss him, of course. He'll
Oh, yeah.
always be a part of our
Right,
lives. And
He continues to live in our hearts, and
Yes.
continues to go on with us. Elyse, you graduated last year from
Yes.
Wheatland High School.
Yes.
And where are you going now?
I'm going to the University of Wyoming.
Don't tell me you're going into geology.
No, I'm not. I was undeclared last semester, but I am currently studying merchandising, and I might do a minor in marketing or entrepreneurship.
Okay. And so are you going to help market the store here?
Possibly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe a work-study program somewhere down the line, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that would be awesome. I'm sure your mom could use
yes.
use all of your expertise in that area.
Absolutely.
This is such a quaint little place, and like I said, it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's in a little town called Dwyer, which is halfway between Guernsey and Wheatland, which are in themselves not the biggest towns in the world. How lucrative is this for you?
Well, it's a supplemental business to the ranching, but it's something that I just really love to do, and I love helping people with their heirloom pieces of jewelry, something that they can pass down through the generations, and wedding sets and birthstone rings, and
Sure.
creating, or refurbishing, restoring antique pieces. We do a lot of that.
And you not only sell brand new items that you can order, but you also make
Yes.
rings,
Yes.
necklaces, jewelry, things like this.
Absolutely.
So you're not just a one that just sells jewelry, but you make jewelry, which is giving you that extra power component to this whole jewelry business here.
Yes.
And to find a place like this in the middle of nowhere, this is, I guess I should say, a diamond in the rough.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And I do have quite a few gemstones on hand and mountings, and we can order up anything by FedEx as far as a mounting goes and have it delivered. And just because I don't have it in the store doesn't mean that we can't do it.
Sure.
So.
How long does it usually take you to let's say, if they find a gemstone they like, and they find a setting, and then you've got everything here at your disposal, how long does it usually take you to fashion that, to get that ready for them?
Oh, it's taken anywhere from 2 days to about 2 months. It can take that long, depending on what else is going on.
And how intricate
swamped we are. Yes.
the piece is?
But if we have a deadline, we try to work within the deadline for our customers.
Sure. Do people ever come in with an idea or a sketch or things that they want you to make, and then you have to make it from scratch?
Absolutely.
And,
yes.
And what was your greatest success story on that?
Oh, my greatest success story. There's quite a few. I can't even. We did anniversary pendant.
Lots of elk ivories.
Oh, elk ivories. Yes, I suppose those have been extremely popular. The Elk Ivory Jewelry.
Tell me a little bit about that. I'm from Wisconsin. We don't have ivory there.
Okay, so these are the elk teeth that when hunters go and hunt the elk, they can remove the teeth. It sounds a little strange to someone that maybe hasn't been around that kind of thing, but they're called elk ivories, and they're quite popular here, and so we just take them and flatten them out and wrap them in gold and silver and put some diamonds around the side if we'd like to, or sapphires. And but we do items in all price ranges. I've done many in sterling, and those run maybe right now, depending on the market,
Sure.
$125 to $150.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now, as far as the diamonds go, they have the you see when people are looking at diamonds, you see the natural and the there's another word for it.
Inclusions?
Inclusion, but it's created in a factory.
Oh, the synthetics.
Yes.
Yes.
That's pretty much cubic zirconium, correct?
No, there are actually synthetic diamonds these days,
Okay.
grown in the laboratory.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. Thank you.
They have the same physical and chemical properties as a natural diamond, and that makes our job so difficult when some people do buy the synthetic diamonds, and really it takes a big laboratory many times to tell the difference. They're coming out with more equipment all the time for the small jeweler. I think they came out with one instrument that maybe I think it's several $1,000s that can help tell.
What's the difference between working on a regular natural diamond and a synthetic or a factory grown?
Really not much difference because they have the same hardness,
Sure.
the same durability. It's just that the natural one is much more rare
Okay.
and more expensive
Right.
than the man-made counterpart.
Let's say if there's a diamond that's let's say a $2,000 diamond, the same one that's created in a laboratory, what would the ratio be for that one?
Oh, I'd probably have to look that up because I don't usually sell the synthetic ones. I can
Sure.
get them,
Sure.
but I'd rather sell a natural. I have
Right.
some really great sources where I can get some fabulous buys on those, so I can get those in between what a natural one would cost maybe
Right.
at the mall and what a synthetic one would cost. So somewhere in between is what I can get a natural one
Okay.
for. I think that if a synthetic one would cost $1,000, that a natural one would cost about $2,000.
Okay, so it's about a
Something like
50%
that.
ratio.
I think so. Something.
I know
like
that I have a friend of mine that actually it's my brother's brother-in-law that owns a jewelry store in Milwaukee, and he said that a lot of the big box jewelry stores, their markup is absolutely ridiculous, and they're not selling real quality pieces, and so people end up buying these pieces at an exorbitant price. Something falls apart, they go try to sell it, and they find out they can't get anything for these diamonds.
It's awful, and the same thing happens online too. Companies will sell diamonds online, and then they feel like they're done with it. Whereas we're a brick and mortar store, and we back the sale after we make the sale. We guarantee our work,
Sure.
and if you have any problem at all, we're happy to take care of it.
Well, you hear the horror stories, about the rings that tarnish after a year, and they're supposed to be gold, and the diamonds that split, and things like this. And
That's awful.
I would not encourage or endorse buying diamonds online,
No.
especially because a lot of things online are like the fake media. They're not telling you the whole story.
It's true.
And if something looks like it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Probably is.
So you have quality gems here, quality work that you do here, not only with diamonds, but different rare stones.
Yes.
And tell me about some of those that you have.
Well, in my inventory, and people need to call and let me know what they're interested in so that I can dig them out of the
Sure.
safe, basically. So I have sapphires, rubies, tanzanite, tourmalines, just pretty much most of the
Sure.
gems that opals, most of the popular ones. What did I say? Emeralds already? Emeralds too?
Excuse me, I have a big smile on my face because I think to myself, when you say dig it out of the safe, I think of you putting on your hat with your light on it, and you put dirt in the safe and you dig through it and kind of return back to your roots, things like that.
Get my rock hammer out, my pick, and I've been rock collecting all over. I've been tourmaline hunting in Maine and
Wow.
turquoise hunting in Arizona, and I've been to the international gem shows, but they usually hold those in Tucson,
Sure.
where all the dealers come from all over.
Right.
And we also have some in Denver. And things have been so crazy. This one hasn't even gone with me to those yet.
So, Elyse, do you do any work with jewelry?
Not really right now.
Okay. So you do a lot of watching and observing right now?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you think about your mom's creativity in her craft?
Oh, she's done painting all my life. She's always been one of the most creative people I know. She's always able to just whip something up, and she can sketch things out. Like, she drew her logo. She's drawn different logos, and yeah, she's really talented at it.
So yeah, it seems like, a lot of the creative people are using one side, I think it's the left side of their brain, or I can't remember, it's the left side or the right sides or whatever. But it looks like she's using both sides of her brain.
I don't know about that sometimes.
So here we got somebody that's creative but also very business savvy, is able to run a ranch and an endeavor like this. Now, I look around at your shop and I think there's more to the shop than just selling jewelry. I mean, you've got knickknacks and wind chimes and blankets, and it's like a one-stop shop for eclectics. And it's very, very unique. And as I said when I walked in, I could lose myself in this shop very easily for about 3 or 4 hours and still not see everything that's in here to see. How do you think you've come to this point where you do so many things, Silvia? From painting to jewelry to running a ranch to wrestling calves to raising a daughter?
I have the answer. I'm old. I've been doing this for a long time. So, when did I open this here? Right here in this location, 1993.
Okay.
And I became a gemologist in 1990, and I graduated from UW at 82. So I'm up there, I'm getting up there.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the idea of, all of a sudden you've got paintings on the wall. Next thing you know, you've got jewelry you've created. What makes you all of a sudden say, that wall needs something. I think I'm going to paint a picture. How do you come to that?
Necessity and just, I guess, feeling the urge to paint or create something.
Yeah.
And decorate. The decoration
decorate.
is just impeccable. It's not a busy store, and yet it's very very elegant in Wyoming decor, I guess you'd say, Western decor. The time is going to come, Elyse, when you're going to graduate from college and get your job. And what if it takes you away from home? You two have had such a bond together.
Well, I will just see what happens. Of course, I would come back and help out if needed.
Right. Now, always been home, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you were raised a Wyoming farm girl,
Yeah.
so a rancher. So you're kind of used to that.
Yeah.
What do you think about when your mom tells you all the stories of her growing up in the big city of New York?
I often forget that she's from a more urban area. I take it for granted. Growing up in a rural area, you definitely think about the community aspect and just the little small town quirks.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. What's the best thing for you guys about living way out here in the middle of nowhere?
I would say, for instance, right now at this season, you can go outside and hear all the birds, and it's wonderful. Just the connection to the nature.
Right. Mm-hmm. When I first got here, I can remember there was a wonderful sound that was just, and I was up shooting in the mountains, shooting some photography up there. I heard this just incredible sound. And I got out of my car and I looked around and I looked up in this tree and there was this bright yellow bird. And I thought, I've never seen one like that before. And then I had to find out it was the Wyoming state bird, which was the western meadowlark. And the sound was just absolutely stunning. And those birds are absolutely fearless. I mean, if they've got an audience, they'll continue to sit there on that fence and sing for you. And they're not skittish at all. It's the same thing with the mule deer up in the mountains. I get out and look at herd of 30, 40 deer. and I'll step out and I'll change lenses, and they won't even move. They'll be like posing for pictures. I'm talking to them, and they're like looking at each other, like, is he talking to you or is he talking to me? And it's just absolutely wonderful. What are some of the things that you love about the wildlife here, Elyse?
Probably some of the variety of wildlife with the trees that are around our house. We get the meadowlarks, and we get hummingbirds sometimes, all kinds.
What about your bigger animals? Like I'm sure you get a lot of deer in here. You ever seen any bear or elk or anything like that?
We've seen elk. I've never seen a bear around
Okay.
here.
No.
They say you have to go a little farther north for
Yeah.
that. And Sylvia, coming from New York to this wild Wyoming, I know when I came out here, and I was just recently in Chattanooga, Tennessee, so I'm going from the Great Smokies to the Rocky Mountains. I was just enamored by the wildlife here. I almost did a happy dance when I saw the antelope the first time, and now it's kind of like they're just all over the place. But I still get excited when I see a lot of that.
Me too, and I learned quickly that antelope are called goats, the local lingo here, and with your dad and I, and
Yeah, there are even a few different species of lizards around here.
yeah.
Like there's the short-horned lizard that lives in sand draws, and you can hold them in your hands. There are the six-lined race runners, which have 6 lines on their backs, and there's sometimes kind of a blue color.
Sure.
Yeah.
And you have snakes out here, don't you?
Oh yes.
Now, out on a ranch, in Wisconsin we had copperheads and we had timber rattlers. So what do you encounter out here that's kind of dangerous?
Well, yesterday we saw a bull snake, but we definitely have the rattlesnakes.
Now bull snakes are good to have, right? They'll keep the rodents and the rats and.
Yeah.
I don't think any snake is actually a good snake, but that's just me. But they say they do keep the rodents and the rats and everything, that population down. But you do have rattlesnakes out here too.
Yes.
Now, how often do you see those?
Not very often.
Really,
It's been
out on the
years.
range?
It's been years since
A
I've
few
seen.
years.
A few years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as far as your ranch, do you have horses, cattle? What do you raise on your ranch?
Well, we don't have horses, and
Black Angus cattle, and we use a 4-wheeler.
Yeah.
That's what
Okay.
we do instead of horses. I've always wanted a horse, but I've never have gotten one yet. So
Black Angus. Now, I'm familiar with those. Those were always a little bit cranky animals. Those were a little crankier cows to have, especially the Angus bulls. You didn't want to get in a pen with an Angus bull. Is that true?
well, you have to be careful. That's for sure. Luckily, I have a lot of help in that department, so I don't have to actually do all that myself. But
And now we're experiencing this COVID-19. How has that affected you guys here?
well, it's affected us some in the beginning, but then I think we decided since we don't have any cases in Platte County, that we were going to just relax a little bit about it.
And I think the restrictions are starting to relax a little bit too. Hopefully we will be out of this thing soon. And the hours of your shop, Sylvia, is this by appointment only here?
It is at this time. In the past, I was here quite a bit, pretty much most of the time, but it's best for people to call ahead. I'm usually very nearby.
Okay.
So I would just hate to miss a customer.
Sure. And Elyse, when are you going to go back to school?
that will be in August.
Okay. Are you actually going to go away to school, or are you going to do online studying, or?
I hope that it's back on campus.
Okay. And so where is that going to be for you?
Laramie.
In Laramie.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's not too bad. You're probably an hour and a half away, something like that. So at least you're getting to come home. Tell me that your mom cooks too, so that you come home to good home cooking.
Yes.
Oh dear God. You hit the jackpot when you had this mom, huh? All right. Well, it's been just a pleasure meeting with both of you today, and you guys are both a delight. And again, this is Homespun, and this little diamond in the rough, I call it, is right here in Platte County. And there's not a lot of jewelry stores within an arm's length here, unless you go to some of the antique shops, and of course then you never know what you're getting. But if you want quality, and you want integrity, and you want a team that is forthright with their jewelry, come here to
Westgem Gallery.
Westgem Gallery. It might be hard to say, and it might be a little difficult to find, but actually out on Highway 26 they have a sign that directs you right here. So again, thank you girls for being on Homespun with us today.
Thank you so much, Mark.
It's called Tattered Faded Blue Jeans by Silvia Rutherford, music by Mark DeLap. Passed away some time ago, he was the first love of her life. First love of her life. She remembers that little church and the promises of a wife. The promises were for life. With ribbon and curls she sees her little girl that misses her daddy's smile. She's missing her daddy's smile. She didn't ask for none of it. Now she walks a lonesome mile and smiles a lonesome smile. Now she's living life in her tattered, faded blue jeans and sees the memories start to shade. She still catches herself looking out towards the fields, and the sun begins to fade. She turns around to see him, but he always fades away. The sun begins to fade. The sun begins to fade. She turns around to see him, but he always fades away. The summer warmth reminds her of the day he left all his routines. He left all his routines. It brings a tear that drops upon. That brings a tear that drops upon. That brings a tear that drops upon her tattered, faded blue jeans. The world says it's time to just let go. Let him drift out with the tide. Honey, let him drift out with the tide. After all he gave his heart and gave his home, her heart won't leave his side. Her heart won't leave his side. Her heart won't leave his side. God gives us strength in each new day. When her hours are long and hard. When her hours are long and hard. To find a way to go on from here with grace and a new song. With grace and a new song. She'll learn to get along with grace and sees the memories start to shade. She still catches herself looking out towards the fields when the sun begins to fade. When the sun begins to fade, she turns around to see him, but he always fades away. Summer warmth reminds her of the day when he left all his routines, when he left all his routines. It brings a tear that drops upon, brings a tear that drops upon, brings a tear that drops upon her tattered, faded blue jeans. And the biggest fear she has is time, afraid she'll lose his memory and with that lose her mind. Now she's living her life in her tattered, faded blue jeans. She sees the memories start to shade. She still catches herself looking out towards the fields when the sun begins to fade. She turns around to see him, but he always fades away. She turns around to see him, but he always fades away. And the summer warmth reminds her